Hello everyone and welcome to this pick a card reading video. As per usual, we have 3 piles to choose from, but for this reading we will be seeing what kind of advice Spirit has for you in order to help you move on. If you feel drawn to more than one pile, you can listen to more than one pile. If you don't feel drawn to any of the piles, that's completely fine. This just might not be the pick a card reading video for you, but I have plenty of other timeless pick a card reading videos located all throughout my YouTube channel. As a reminder, everything I talk about and discuss in this video is for entertainment purposes only and cannot be stated as fact. If you need some more time to pause the video and see which stack you feel or stacks you feel most drawn to, you can do that now. Otherwise, let's get right into it. Hello and welcome to your part of the pick a card reading video. So here we have Fern. I love ferns. And it says naturalist, organic, new life, new beginnings, tranquility, knowing. And then it says new beginnings are upon you now, and natural tranquility equals knowing. So with this, a piece of advice Spirit has for you, the main piece of advice Spirit has for you in terms of how you can move on, is to embrace change and to embrace the new. So part of that really is knowing that a lot of good things are coming your way. And if you don't feel like that specifically is the case, then this is saying once you clear out the past, once you let go of the past, you're able to open yourself up to new possibilities. Obviously, a simple example, a common example I could use is somebody who is still stuck on an ex, so then they're not open to a new relationship or to meeting new people in a romantic way. So because of that, that person misses out on all these amazing people they could have potentially gone on dates with, maybe even been in a committed partnership with. So then in that situation, once that person finally is able to let go of that ex and realize that that person isn't meant for them, to realize that that person even wasn't worthy of them, then they're able to instead embrace change and embrace the newness. And with this, it feels like whatever it is that you have to move on from and let go of, know that that thing, no matter how I'm seeing something glittering and shining, no matter how shiny or quote unquote good that past thing seemed, that past situation or person seemed, Spirit is saying that if I'm seeing somebody turning the corner now in a maze. It's like life is a maze is the way that this is being shown to me. And once you turn the corner, instead of just being stuck in this maze, especially repeating patterns, I feel like a lot of you, maybe as it relates to this kind of person or situation, you've been repeating patterns. So Spirit's saying it's time to not just be stuck in the maze. It's time to finally find, and it's interesting though, I'm not saying an exit point, because the exit point of a maze, enter or exit point, it's then you're out of the maze. But life is a maze, so it's almost like there's no exit or entry point. So instead what I see you trying to do is find the middle of the maze. And I'm seeing somebody finding a golden key that's hovering, in a video game. You know how things hover you sometimes in certain games, they're hovering and they're spinning. Maybe I'm just thinking of Crash Bandicoot, that key, that golden key. Is it the key I'm thinking of? Anyway, and it's spinning. So with that, me getting that imagery, it's Spirit saying you have the key. The key is out of reach right now, but it's because you keep going in the same spots of a maze or in similar parts of a maze. So maybe you're going down one part of a maze, but then you go down a different part, but it's literally the exact same carbon copy, except for it's maybe just a different color. Or instead of there being stones on the ground, there's just ferns. There's a lot of analogies coming through here, but seriously, what I'm being shown here is that so breaking patterns, breaking cycles. This also can relate to generational trauma. So this is a good indication that who you are actually at your core and who you're meant to be, who you know you are, once you finally tap into that, it will be easier to let go of the past, because the past won't align with who you are now anymore. And your belief system too, it's it won't any longer align with you. So there's no need to live a life that not only doesn't make us happy, but it just doesn't feel right. You don't have that key. And it just feels like you'll want to, with letting go of the past, with embracing these changes. So I'm getting so many different messages right now. I know for some of you are like, well, yeah, I feel like that's the kind of message I could get from every pile, but I'm trying to make this more specific to you. Because yes, embrace change. I know it's a pretty generic message, but Spirit specifically is saying new life, new beginnings. With embracing the new, I think some of you too are a little bit scared because maybe who you're meant to be or what you want to do with life is very different. And it's very much in contrast from what you have been doing up to this point. So although that can be scary, Spirit is saying it will feel more correct. That's why the key is showing up. It's like it will feel like you are where you're meant to be and you are who you are meant to be. And it's interesting. I'm getting also, like, you know, the saying, the more you know, the less you know. I'm getting that tied in with this too, where it's like, if you have it reminds me of people too who grow up in very rural communities, maybe people who are homeschooled, people who don't have like much of an understanding of the world outside of them. It feels like that's what you're stepping into. Even if you grew up very well traveled or whatever, right, like experiencing many things, it feels like Spirit is saying the opportunities are endless for you to, like, I'm getting very Gemini and Sagittarius energy with this, where it's like you'll want to learn more about life in general. You'll want to experience life, and with experiencing life, it will make you realize how boring and mundane life once was for you, or just how one note. So Spirit is saying if you want more energy in your life, if you want to be more fulfilled and more happy, and if you want like excitement in your life, that is enough, hopefully, for you to realize. That's why you gotta leave this stuff in the past. That's why I also said no matter how shiny, no matter how even exciting that was, Spirit is saying what is to come is a lot more exciting. It feels very giddy energy here, where it feels like I'm seeing like a black cloud over here, but then over on the other side I'm seeing like sunshine. I'm seeing you running through the fields, and I'm seeing you with arms open. I think that's the thing too. Your mind will be more open. You'll be more accepting, and I'm also hearing you'll be less brainwashy. It's almost oh, not cult vibes, but it's giving me, like, I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of you grew up in very religious households. And even if you don't identify as being super religious now, it's the kind of energy, sorry, I bumped in, just making sure it didn't move too much out of frame. Okay. It's the kind of energy where, even, oh yeah, super religious. Even if that's not you now, it's still the energy of that kind of mindset still has an impact on you. It reminds me of, like, my dad is he's a narcissist. I know a lot of people say that, but with all my research I've done, with my internal healing work I've done, he is a malignant narcissist. He wasn't ever physically abusive or anything, but he's not a good guy. And I have no contact with him. I bring this up because, why was I bringing that up? Oh my god, sorry. There's so many messages that are wanting to come through right now. Where was I at? That's the thing too, that kind of energy I'm having right now, it's like once you leave the past in the past, a lot of different ideals will pop into your head of like, oh, I can try this now, I can try this, I can try this, I can try this. Oh, I bring this up because my dad, part of his thinking is that he was very much a misogynist. Like, there's especially this one news anchor who would be on TV, and she wasn't a skinny woman, and she would report on sports, and whenever she would come on, my dad would say she looks like a fat cow or fat pig, or she looks like she should be pregnant, and if she's not, like, that's embarrassing. Granted, my dad has a very big gut, and I don't say that to fat shame him. I don't care if you're fat, if you're bigger built. I say that because it's like, he is fat, but yet he's like shaming a woman specifically for being fat. So it's fat phobic tied with misogyny of like how she should be this little petite young thing that's like easy to be manipulated and like controlled over physically and mentally, right? It reminds me of that, where I'm not saying sorry, there's so many messages. I don't think specifically maybe you have that kind of messaging, but I bring that up because I bring that up because for me, there's a lot of internalized misogyny I have because of my father. That was just one example I threw out there from my father. I don't view myself as a misogynist, but there's times where even today, I'll realize how I have internalized misogyny, and it's like rooted in also maybe jealousy of other women. There's this internalized misogyny I think a lot of people culturally just have anyway, at least in America, I can say for a fact. But especially with me growing up with my father, I have this internalized misogyny I still have to work through. So Spirit is saying you won't have it all worked out, but that's why it's like these new ideas will come through. You'll have a lot of epiphanies. It will be very overwhelming, but it will also help you to feel free. That's what I was seeing with the wide open arms. You'll be a lot more free. You'll be more free to think freely. You'll be more free to try new things. With new life, new beginnings here, Spirit wants you to be able to make mistakes still. They want for you to just live life to the fullest. Like, I was going to say live life apologetically, but also part of your journey is knowing when to apologize. Because you don't want to be completely on the side of like having reckless abandon and then you hurt people along the way and you're like, okay, well, I was finding myself. It's like, no, along the way with finding yourself, you'll make mistakes. You'll hurt people. People will hurt you. So that's why it's okay to still have these kinds of tough conversations as well. But just know there's a lot of exciting things happening once you leave these things in the past, or else you'll be stuck in that past, right? You don't want to hold on to it. It's like you have a door closed. You need to open that door to possibilities, to that open field, instead of just being in this shadowy darkness and being afraid of the unknown. Spirit is saying taking this next step, taking this leap will be very helpful and beneficial and a lot more exciting. You'll have a lot more energy. You'll be like, you won't be sad. You won't dread waking up every day. You'll be like, no, I'm actually excited to wake up today. I'm excited to take on the day, even if it's something mundane, like you're just doing errands or you're just going to work. That was a lot I was getting from just this. I don't even think I really need to pull much for tarot cards. I was gonna pull from the Karma Cards deck, but I think what I'll do is I'll just pull, I feel like pulling maybe only a few tarot cards. There's a lot more I could say for this, but alas, if I go too long on the videos, then it makes it so that the videos can export in high quality, and then that sucks. Any additional information about maybe specifically this new beginning that will be coming through for them? No, that's not it. Okay. What new possibilities are coming through for pile 1A? Yes, this is okay, I thought I was going to pull this card, so I'm glad that we did. It is the Nine of Pentacles. I love the Nine of Pentacles. This is all about, it can be about wish fulfillment. I don't, like sometimes with this card, I guess, you can get this kind of messaging, but I'm hearing dream come true. So if any of you are afraid that if you leave behind your past, that you'll just end up back in the same spot, Spirit is saying you won't. Because you'll also have the tools and resources and the knowledge from experience. So even if things don't work on the first try or things don't work the way you were hoping they would, Spirit is saying that it will still be very helpful and beneficial for you to take this next step, to leave behind the past, because it's a lot more happy and fulfilling. And also with this card, it can be tied to success as well. But I get more of the internal, mental, and emotional side of things, even spiritual, like breaking karmic curses. If you believe in reincarnation, then the next lifetime you won't have to be repeating this cycle again of whatever it is you need to let go of. And it does feel very karmic, and I think this is also like indicative of Spirit being very happy of you, like, yes, you did it. You finally did it. I see you being just a lot happier and fulfilled in life. Guide of Wands. And with that, I think it's insinuating that Spirit is helping guide you along the way. I just get the sense that this is a time of you being very adventurous. So you won't be able to fully take on an adventure if you're clinging onto this thing you need to move on from the past. You'll have a lot more, like, this is just about living life, having experiences, feeling enriched by those experiences, and just feeling happy and content with where you are in life. You won't have to worry about the next thing. You'll just be happy with where you're at, and you'll know that there's always a new day, and there's always something new you can try the next day. I just see you on this next phase of life doing a lot of different things and being unafraid. At first you might be afraid, but then I see you being unafraid. Just being like, what's the worst that could happen? And even if the worst thing were to happen, you can still be happy knowing you at least tried, is a message that's coming through. Maybe some of you could get like a necklace that has like a golden key on it, or you could make your house key golden. I don't know. Something with that golden key could be important. That could also mean for some of you like moving or traveling elsewhere. And then we have here the Man of Swords. This is the Queen. The Man, I think the Man is the Knight. I have a little guidebook over here. Might as well just check to make sure. Sometimes I forget. Oh, that's... Yeah, the Youth is the page. So yeah, Man is Knight. So the Knight of Swords in reverse. To me, what this is showing for me is that, yeah, things will fall. There's a lot happening. So this is saying to me that things will happen very quickly and in close proximity to one another. So don't be stuck on one thing. If you're only trying something different or new for a brief period of time and then you get led somewhere else, trust that. Or if you don't have time because you have to do something else, or just life gets in the way. I just see there being so many moving parts right now. Spirit is like, even if you're only somewhere for like a day, like it's very much even like that. Even if something new you're trying is very short-lived and it doesn't really stick, it actually was still helpful for you. And you can always go back to it. That's what I'm seeing here too. You can always go back to something if you really want to and if you have the ability to. And if you can't, then it's not meant for you to go back to it. But there's so many moving parts right now. There's so many things. Don't stick on one specific thing. And don't think that you're a failure because you can't stick to one specific thing. Just know that that's part of what Spirit wants you to do right now, is to encounter a lot of different people, a lot of different circumstances, and do a lot of different things. So things aren't meant to last forever during this phase, but things not lasting forever with the new beginnings. What was I going to say with that? That's part of your happiness. Finding also happiness in the day-to-day things, being very present. That's the thing too, letting go of this thing, moving on, will help you to be more present instead of either being stuck in the past or focused on the future. You'll be very much at peace with yourself and your surroundings at any given moment. So just with life going by quickly, just embrace it. Don't be scared of it. Embrace it. And wherever you're being led by Spirit and by your own intuition, do that. Whatever intrigues you, go down that path. It's about what excites you. That's the main message or question that they want you to remind yourself. What excites you at this moment in time versus the next day? If it's something different, that's fine. Then just go down that path anyway. Okay, I will leave it at that. Thank you so much, Wanae, for watching and listening to this video. I hope you enjoyed it. You can like the video, you can comment down below if you resonate with this stack, and you can update your comments sometime in the future if there are any updates you would like to provide for us all. You can subscribe to my channel, it helps me out a lot. You can check out my other timeless pick a card reading videos as well as my collective reading videos on my channel. And I have an ASMR channel that's linked down below if you want to check that out. I have 2 ASMR channels if you want to check those out. Okay, thank you so much. Bye-bye. Hello, Tibby, and welcome to your part of the pick a card reading video. Here we have the Calla Lily. It says faith and desires, rebirth, resurrection, innocence, purity. Give new life to the old and look upon this with purity. On paper, this card is similar to, actually have it over here. If you don't want to see, I'm going to show you card 1A, what the signifier card was. It's Fern, and a lot of this has to deal with new beginnings as well. But the energy is actually very different, where this is more fast-paced energy, and this is a lot slower-paced energy. So I'm hearing new perspectives. So I think what Spirit is saying is, in order to help you to move on, you need to have a new perspective. Sorry, there's different messages coming through. Faith and desires also makes me think, have confidence in yourself that you're able to like take this next step. But I want to new perspective. So I think, like, you know, it reminds me of, like, there are people who have, maybe you relate to this, I don't know, I'm just using this as an example that came through to me. There are people who have addictions. It could be a food addiction, it could be a drug addiction, alcohol addiction, it could be an addiction to your phone, social media. to like a person that you're kind of obsessed with, celebrity or a person in your personal life. But it reminds me of people who have addictions, let's just say a drug addiction, and they try different things, or they try different treatment programs, and they can never find one that sticks. So I think Spirit is saying they see the effort, or they see the thought process you have to try to maybe move on from this person or thing, but something keeps pulling you back. So something you need to do is flat out think of the main reason, or like main reasons why you keep holding on to this thing, or why you keep going back to this thing. What kind of comfort does it provide? What kind of comfort and stability does this person, place, thing provide that you fear you will lose in the future if you leave them behind? If we think about somebody who is in love, but then they get the heart broken, I brought up this kind of example in Pile 1A as well, but let's say you're stuck on an ex. And it's like, this is you hoping and waiting that they'll come back. But that's not what Spirit wants you to do with give new life to the old. Instead, I think what they're saying in that kind of perspective, like the original perspective is, I'm still in love with this person. With shifting your perspective, you could reword it. A lot of the shifting perspective deals with rewording things. So instead of I'm still in love with this person, be like, I'm still in love with the idea of having a stable relationship. So you want that, and maybe you felt you had that, whether it was true at one point or not in that past relationship. But then moving forward, it's like, obviously it's not stable if it's not, you aren't even together anymore. Maybe that person's already moved on. So it's about rewording things. So if you have a drug addiction, instead of being like, I am addicted to drugs, even though that's still true, you could rewire your brain and be like, I'm addicted to I guess I don't specifically know how drugs work, like each type of drug. But you could be like, I'm addicted to that rush of adrenaline, or that rush of endorphins, that rush of serotonin to my brain. And that is very addictive to me. And then maybe you can relate that to your past, and that's addictive to me because of this past experience I had. Or like my childhood, it was really crappy. And so this provides me with that boost of happy hormones, happy chemicals, in a way that I couldn't ever get growing up. Maybe it's about rewiring and being like, I'm not addicted to drugs, I'm addicted to the idea of having an emotional stability. And so maybe that's why people end up becoming addicted to drugs. It's like, it almost provides a balance. It doesn't actually, but maybe it's like your brain gets tricked into a balance, because if you have genetic depression or anxiety, or just, even if it's not genetic, if you just have had it for a long time and it's very detrimental to your everyday well-being, and then you start taking drugs, and it's like, oh, this makes me happy, even if it's for a brief moment, it's such an intense high. For some people, they take drugs and it's an intense low, but it's almost like this low cancels out this low. I'm just like saying this is an example, right? I've never been addicted to substances, but in that kind of example, it's like, that's why I bring up the rewording, the rephrasing. Like, yes, you were addicted to drugs, but rewording it, like, what is it you're actually craving from that addiction? What is it that you're actually, if you get to the root cause, what is it you're actually looking to seek? So that's what Spirit is saying too, with rewording and rephrasing, shifting perspectives. It's like you get to the root cause of the issue. And maybe some of you are like, I already know the root issue here. I know the root reason why I'm still stuck on this thing and I can't move on. So then Spirit is saying to just experiment with different healthy modalities to help shift your perspective. If like the wording doesn't work, which I think for a lot of you it's just about reframing, but if that doesn't work, then Spirit is saying to experiment, try different things, and don't give up on that. Like if something doesn't work and then something else doesn't work, like if all these people are saying, oh, try this place, try doing this patch or whatever, try doing these different things, and it doesn't work, that doesn't mean it can't work for you. And I think some of you too, it's like maybe you've tried things but you haven't given it full effort. So maybe you've kind of moved on, but then you go back That's why it's important to go to the root cause, the root issue. And with reframing, I also am seeing like a brain being rewired. So that also indicates to me that you haven't given it enough time, like, to fully move on. You haven't fully, maybe you've dipped your toe outside, like in the water, but you haven't fully like immersed yourself in the water. If that makes sense. Like if you're trying to, like, it reminds me of somebody who's like a kid going like this in the cold water, but it's cold. It's like, okay, you put your toe in. Okay, now you put your part of your leg in, but then they take their leg back out. And Spirit's like, sometimes you just gotta go with full gusto. So Spirit is saying something that will help you to move on is also to realize that you haven't, maybe, and not in a shaming way, but you haven't done enough yet. There's more you can do. You haven't given it enough of an effort or try. Maybe some of you don't resonate with that, but I think that's showing up pretty strongly, so I think a lot of you will. Where it's like, maybe you haven't given it enough time. And it makes me think too of people who do something with full energy, but it's only for a brief amount of time. And they're like, well, it's still not working. It's like, because you're not doing it in smaller amounts. So that's the thing too. Do things in smaller amounts as long as you get to the point where you're on the other side and you've completely moved on from the other thing. It's not just about taking big leaps. It's also not just about taking one small step and then being like, okay, that's enough, and then going back to step 0. It's about taking steps. Also, I'm seeing rewarding yourself along the way. Like, it reminds me of, for me, I reward myself with things like ice cream. So each step you take to moving on, you can do something to reward yourself. And if you end up going back to your old ways, then Spirit is saying to just try to do again what was helping you before, because there's a pressure that people have to be perfect and to do things right the full way, which is why I think you struggle with giving things another go, like another try, if they didn't work the first time. And that's also why you either do things way too slow to the point of where you're not really making any progress, or also doing things all at once, but then you don't really let all the change settle in, so then you go back to ground zero. So small steps where it's needed and rewarding yourself, but then if you mess up, don't shame yourself. Remind yourself you're not perfect and try to retrace your tracks. And hopefully it will even be easier. For some people it's harder, but just to know that you've done it before so you can do it again, but even further. It's like pushing yourself even further, seeing yourself at the end of that finish line. Okay, I spent a lot of time on this. I did the same thing with pile 1A, where I was getting a lot of messaging just from the first card. But let's see, is that in frame well enough? Sure. Let's go over to the tarot cards. Again, I was going to use the karma cards, but I just think I won't use them for any of the piles. We want to make sure this gets exported and hopefully not 480p. What messages do you have for 2B? We have Man of Wands in reverse. So yeah, for me, that further indicates there's steps that I think a lot of you already know how to, maybe not know how to take. There's a lot of things you could do, you're just afraid to do. So Spirit's like, you just gotta do it even if you're afraid. And this is the Knight of Wands in reverse, I think. I don't remember if I said that yet, but yeah, Man of Wands in reverse is Knight of Wands in reverse. But this also is saying, yeah, you're not timing things out properly. You have to be patient while also still being confident enough in yourself that you can do things. You can do the hard things. So it's okay to be scared, but it's about doing it, taking that first. Don't think about step 10. Think about step 1 to step 2 to step 3. So think about it in smaller increments to move on from this person, place, or thing. Yeah, I think that's mainly it. Let's get to the other cards. Also, I'm hearing, I don't know if I want to say that, but I'm hearing it's not as hard as it seems. Look at that. This is actually the same card we pulled in this exact spot for 1A, which is the Queen of Wands, which I think is very important because with this, it makes me believe that Spirit's trying to tell you that they are watching over you and they're also trying to help guide you. So if there's ever a point where you don't know what the next step is, really tune into your intuition and think about what you already know, but also where you feel drawn to. listen to that gut instinct. If you think about doing option A versus option B, maybe you think of option B and it's like, it makes you feel not good, or you know it will be a bad decision, even if it actually would feel good, but it's like you just know that that wouldn't be a good choice, so it would maybe help you to relapse or go back to step 0 or go back a couple steps. Versus this next step, which is also likely hard, but it's like kind of shining when you think about it. It's like, this feels right. So just think about what feels right. Think about where you're being led. Also, I'm hearing, any way the wind blows. I can't really sing it because of YouTube, even though I'm not monetized, but it doesn't really matter to me. Bohemian Rhapsody by Queen. And in the beginning, it's like, na, 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 na. So it's like, you know, it's just like slowly moving along. That's the thing too. I think music could be helpful for you, with moving along, helping you to connect with the music. It will help you feel less alone during the process, or it will just give you confidence in some way. But one final card, please, Spirit. Is it this top card? No. Okay. Final card, Spirit. Also, I'm hearing too, like, me being patient with the cards is symbology. Like, just be patient for things to work. You put so much pressure on something working. You have to just, sometimes even if you're on the right track, it won't feel good. It won't, maybe you'll know it's right, but it won't feel, like, it won't make you happy. See, look, and then we pull Temperance. And when it's in reverse, and when that's in reverse, it's really saying, take your time, and also don't rush the process of moving on to this next step of leaving that thing in the past. I just get the sense too, it will take a lot of effort to even take those first couple steps, and even that should be something you reward yourself over. Oh, and they're are they baking, or they're cooking or something. Also, I'm hearing, like, not cooking up a storm, but what is it called? I can't think of the phrase right now. But oh, with cooking, it's like things have to take time sometimes to simmer. So that's the thing too. Giving things time, rewiring your brain. It's just, yeah, everything I've already been saying. Rewiring your brain. Everything takes time. Be patient with yourself. Be patient with the process. And also, I'm seeing this is very much a solo journey. So don't focus on what other people have to say, unless if it's like your guides or anything. But I feel like you'll feel kind of alone during this process, but know that you are protected, and know that it's okay for it to take time. No matter how long the process, you'll be more calm and at peace on the other side. So just it won't be like that probably at first, but allow yourself to get to that point. That's how you'll know you've made a lot of progress, is where you finally are at peace. You think about that too with people who are like addicts of drugs or alcohol, and then after some amount of time has passed, after they've worked on themselves enough, they're like, yeah, like, I just know what my limits are. Like, if I'm at a party or a gathering and there's alcohol, I know when to leave if it's too much for me. And it's like, part of this is knowing you have free will, knowing you have power, and you should have confidence in yourself. That's something too that can help you on this journey, is when you build up your confidence, to recognize that and be like, oh, I'm actually more confident in myself. I believe in myself more than I used to. That will help you with each step you have to take. But thank you so much to B for watching and listening to this video. Hope you enjoyed it. You can like the video, you can subscribe, you can comment down below if you resonate with this stack, and you can update your comments sometime in the future if there are any updates you would like to provide for us all. You can check out my other timeless pick a card reading videos and or my collective reading videos. You can check out my ASMR channels if you want to check those out in the video description down below. Thank you so much again, Tubi, and take care. Hello, 3C, and welcome to your part of the pick a card reading video. Here we have Rhododendron, and it says optimism, light/warmth, positive energy, and it says on the sides, feel the warmth of universal energy and optimism and positivity are needed now. So if you've chosen this pile, it seems like you need a lot more confidence in yourself and also like reassurance or self-assurance. I just feel like out of all the groups, you're the most nihilistic probably, where it just feels like no matter what I say, no matter what other people say, no matter what help you're able to get to move on, it's like a stubborn energy too, where you're like, well, I can't do this and I can't do that. It's like, well, have you even tried? It's like, no, but I just know that it won't work. So Spirit is saying that you have a stubborn energy. You need to be more optimistic. And that doesn't mean that you have to be 100% certain that things will happen, but you need to have, or that things will work to help you move on. But what they are saying, your guides and Spirit, they're saying that you need to be more optimistic. Because if you don't have any at all, then how are you supposed to like live every day? Take the next step. Because you already are setting yourself up to fail. You're saying that it won't matter if you put in effort, because it's like you're failing on yourself, because you're saying it won't matter if I put in effort because it won't work. You are depriving yourself of the opportunity to change and to heal, because you're basically saying it's better to be stuck where you're at now. Maybe it's because it's safer, but it's like, I almost feel like a lot of you have something to prove. So maybe this is a situation where you don't want to move on from this person or thing because this is something you're clinging on to because you want it to happen. It's not even something that's bad. It's something that's actually very positive. So that's why it's like you can't even think of trying to, like, you think of it as giving up. I would say more so redirecting, but I guess also, yeah, giving up. Giving up doesn't have to be a bad thing, though. You're viewing it as a bad thing. You're viewing it as something where you are giving up on your hopes and dreams, you're giving up on love, you're giving up on a friend, whatever it is. It's like you think you're ultimately giving up on yourself by moving on from this person, place, or thing. And Spirit's saying that's not the case. So you need to instead of thinking how it's bad to move on, think of the reasons it would be good for you, right? Like if you're spending a lot of money on a business venture, like a solo business venture, self-employed type of situation or side gig, and it's just not producing any money for you, then Spirit is like, but you're like, no, this is like part of my dream. If it's not working, maybe it's not meant for you, or maybe you're meant to come back to it at a different time. So in that kind of situation, Spirit's like, well, a positive is that you'd be saving money. You'd be saving time and energy and redirecting it toward being with friends and family, or toward your career that you have right now, toward your schooling, toward another creative indenture. Maybe you're meant to do something else, so it's good to like experiment in that way where you try something maybe even similar but slightly different. You know what reminds me of too? There's people who have, I'm thinking of like massage therapists, but also like mental health practitioners. Let's just go with the mental health practitioners. There are people who usually when you start out, you have to start out in like a counseling group. There's a company or a business that employs or like contracts different counselors or therapists. That's usually where people start. People don't usually start with having their own little office for themselves right away. Usually you have to build up enough of a clientele to be able to do that. So in that example, it's like you go into that and you do that right away, but then it's like you don't really have, you maybe get 1 or 2 clients and that's in. So then it's not profitable. And of course, in that kind of situation, you would hope it's not just money that's wanting you to be a counselor or therapist. Granted, if you want to be a therapist, usually it actually doesn't make you very much money at all. And a lot of therapists have to get like side gigs or part-time work as well. Unless you're very like, you have a lot of clientele and you're able to up your prices and whatnot. But anyway, so it reminds me of that situation where this person, as soon as they graduate from their master's program, and they're like, usually you still have to like, is it you shadow other therapists, I think? Anyway, let's just say that this person is you and you start right away your own little office suite and you only get a couple clients. And so in this kind of situation, you have to come up with better solutions. So this is a way you can move on from the past too, is like come up with solutions. Because this isn't obviously the final solution, it's not working. So come up with other solutions even if it's still related to that thing. So maybe it's like you're moving on, but you still have a similar goal that's tied to that situation that you want to bring forward. So this person, they have their own little suite, like office suite. They have only a couple clients, but then after a year or two, they finally shut it down because they are literally making negatives from this business venture. So then they have to instead join a counseling group where it's contracted out of an office where there's other counselors, like it's already well established, and then you do that for like 10 years. But then after that, you finally are like, okay, I can revisit it. That's the thing too, where I think a lot of you can revisit this situation in the future. If it really is something you want to do, it might just be the wrong time, or it just might be that you don't have enough resources, you don't have enough backing, or enough attention on you to keep this thing going. So Spirit is saying maybe it's just not the right time. Have optimism too, that this isn't you giving up on your goals, it's just redirecting the energy and then going back to it in the future if you're able to and if you still want to. So for some of you, this also is saying feel the warmth of universal energy. I'm also hearing like keep the warmth alive. Like if this is something that's not working now, use that as motivation where, okay, it's not working now, but it's better for me to leave this behind for right now so that I can, in that kind of situation, build up enough clientele, have enough money to later on establish my own little office suite, solo business venture where I'm a therapist. So have the motivation where it's like, I'm leaving this behind now. I'm motivated though to get back to not the point I was at before, but to a much better point. So things are hopefully a lot easier. Things will make more sense. I'll have a lot more knowledge. I'll know more of what to do. And I'll have more support. Like, think of it like that. That's a way you can be optimistic. Think of the positive things you can bring forward using as specifically keyword motivation. Motivators. And it's like, it reminds me of the people who are like, I can prove you wrong. I can prove you I can do this. Well, maybe right now you can't, but in the future, if you really try hard, you work hard at, I see this requiring a lot of hard work, whatever this is. If you really want to go back to this person place thing, it requires a lot of hard work. Granted, that is not, for a lot of you, I think that it will indicate to some capacity going back to this person place or thing in some way. And I think in that situation, that if it's a person, they will have evolved already too, or like even the situation, I don't even know how to explain it. It reminds me of like YouTube, where at first YouTube wasn't a big business venture, but now if somebody stops doing YouTube, but then they go back to it and they have more money, they have better camera equipment, but then also YouTube is more viable as like a solo business option if you want to do that. Like, it's very much that kind of situation where I think giving it time will allow this situation to also grow and expand as well as you do, but you'll be doing it separately. But I will say, for some of you, it's not about going back to that person, place, or thing. It's about growing, but you can still have that as motivation. And you can always change your mind later on. You can be like, I'm motivated to go back to this thing. So it's like you moved on, but then you have it in the back of your mind a bit. I think a lot of you will go back to that in some capacity, in a positive way. And some of you won't go back at all, though, and you'll be like, well, I'm actually happy with where I'm at now, or I have different ideas for where I'd like to be headed. And either way is fine. Either way is completely fine, but it's about using motivation. Like, I still really want to do this, so it's about working really hard to do it. And also about, how do I want to word this? I feel like there's also hidden clues that you're missing, almost. Like, I'm seeing somebody with those magnifying glasses, and they're like with those not top hats, but those like investigative type hats on, and they're like trying to read in between the lines. So there's things that no matter what you do, you won't be able to pick up on these clues or these hidden meanings or context right now. Once you only remove yourself and move forward from that situation, you'll be able to actually dissect and be like, oh, this is actually what this meant, or this is what actually I maybe could have done here to help me. So then if you were to go back, or if you were to just move still along this way, either way, you'll have a lot more of an understanding and better knowledge. Okay, I'll pull a few cards now, a few tarot cards. Is that good enough? Move it more over here. Move it more over here. Am I moving it further away? I tell ya. It's funny, I'm also hearing, like, with this, spirit might also kind of play tricks on you right now. You might have, like, trickster energy type spirit guides. So if you're more clumsy during this time, that's okay. I think it's just, like, I'm hearing it as, like, energy recalibrating itself. This one wants to come out. Guide of Pentacles in reverse. So yeah, Spirit's saying no matter what you do right now, something to keep in mind is it's just not going to work for right now. So that's why it's okay to let it be in the past, because it's just simply not going to work. Three of Swords. I think this will be very difficult for you to... And this one came out too. I'm going to leave this one. So I think it's going to be very... Yeah, Nine of Wands. It's like you're holding on to this thing you want to have happen so bad. Sorry, 1 second. Yeah. You're holding on to this thing you want to have happen so bad. This is you holding on. You're holding on for dear life, but Spirit's like, you have to confront the fact that it will be potentially even soul-crushing for you to go through this process. But it's necessary. I'm seeing and hearing that it's necessary. You can cling on as much as you want, but then nothing is going to happen. It's not going to change the outcome of this situation. And so you'll just keep yourself more stuck and more in pain. Like, things won't... I feel like actually pulling another card, like connecting to the Three of Swords. I feel like it's a card over here. Is it that card? No. Oh, I think I may have put it down. Is it one of these cards? Is it that top card? Okay. Seven of Pentacles. So yeah, with this, Spirit is saying hard work does pay off, and they see that you're working towards something, towards like this fulfillment, this success is the way this comes across. I'm trying to find the way to word this. It's okay to have goals, but if you're working towards something and it's not working, yeah, again, this is just saying, like, there's a different way you can work hard. And with you removing yourself from the situation right now as it stands, you're actually, even though, like, there's, like, say this is the path, here's the end goal, and then you're on the separate path and you don't really have a goal. Or maybe it's just, like, kind of, yeah, up in the air. This goal over here, but it's like you have to jump over to this path. And ultimately, you going on this path, actually, for many of you, will lead you. Somehow this end goal will merge with the other path. So it's like, but instead on this path you were on, like, here's the goal, but then it's like you keep running into, like there's a cow in the way, but you can't move past the cow. You have to wait until the cow moves, but the cow is staying there. The cow is in the middle of the road, and you can't swerve around, even though you can kind of see above the cow, and you see this goal right here. You're like, so it's still there. It's still in my eyesight, so I still see it, so therefore it can still happen. So Spirit's like, no, instead, take this detour. Taking this detour, removing yourself for now, will end up merging with the other path, past where the cow was, to where you want to be anyway. Again, for some of you, maybe it will be a completely different end goal than before, but for a lot of you, it actually is related in some way, as I was saying. So you can still have this, like, in the back of your mind. The Spirit isn't saying that this is giving up specifically, like, forever. It doesn't have to be forever. So that's why it's so painful. You want it to happen so bad, and you, like, maybe feel like it's meant for you. But you need to, like, take some time away. Remove yourself. Move on from it. Do something else with your life in the meantime, and it will still end up leading you where you're meant to be and toward this goal, this path you have in mind. Okay, I'll leave it at that. Thank you so much, 3C, for watching and listening to this video. I hope you enjoyed it. You can like the video, you can subscribe, you can comment down below if you resonate with this stack, and you can update your comments sometime in the future if there are any updates you would like to provide for us all. You can Check out my ASMR channels linked in the video description. You can check out my timeless pick a card reading videos as well as my collective reading videos on this channel. Either way, thank you so much and take care. Bye-bye.